I was abused by Father Cantarto when I was 11, 12, and 13 years old. And I had to relive that over and over again. I felt the pain and the shame. But sometimes when I used to have flashbacks and nightmares. And then when he took my brother Mike and I to New York City in the movie houses, and the movie houses weren't, that whole area was not pleasant. So when he took us to the movie house, when he was abusing us in the movie house, and then other times my soul would separate from my body, and I would float to the ceiling, and I could see these kids being abused. And at first I thought I was going crazy. I thought there was something wrong with me. I'm going crazy. But then when I get into counseling, I realized that I wasn't going crazy. It was a way for my mind, to fight this. I hated my dad for years. I hated him. And one of the reasons why I hated him, because he brought his friend into his house and raped me and raped my two brothers. And when I used to try to hide, and first I was raped in the basement of my dad's house, then I was raped outside, and then I thought I would go upstairs where my dad was watching TV, and he would protect me. So I went upstairs, and my dad was watching TV, and he would fall asleep. And when my dad was falling asleep, Cantardo was there, and he used to rape me in the same room where my dad was at, in the same room. And I used to fantasize that my arm would stretch out and wake him up. My arm would just stretch and wake him up. But he never, of course that never happened. And I froze. And I was angry at myself for years later because I couldn't yell, couldn't scream. I just froze. In an Italian family, the oldest boy is supposed to protect the family. And I couldn't do that. I just ran away and hid. And when I did that, I knew my two brothers were being abused. And I have to live with that for the rest of my life. No matter how much counseling I get, I still have to live with that. I started to realize I was not alone when I walked into a SNAP meeting and saw that the room was packed, full of people, full of survivors. And the people that I met there got me through some very difficult times, very hard times. And I owe that to the people that I surrounded myself with. I surrounded myself with people that helped me. I surrounded myself with heroes. Well, I feel better about myself when I can help my two brothers, when I can help people heal. When I would go to a SNAP meeting, there's hundreds and hundreds of people are there telling their stories, and they want to talk to you. One of the first things I want them to know is that they're not alone. They're not alone. There's so many people that were abused when they were kids. They're not alone, and never feel that you're alone. Never feel that way, because you're not. And then what I do is I talk about my experience, my story, and what happened to me and my two brothers. And that kind of eased it a little bit. They feel like they're not alone, and they could talk to me a little bit more. I told them, you did nothing wrong. You're a survivor. A good friend of mine who was a war hero, he said to me that I was a true hero. And I said to him, you're wrong. I'm no hero. But what I did was I surrounded myself with heroes. People, people that helped me. And because a number of people, like I have a cousin that told me her story and how she was abused. I have a second cousin that told me his story. He was abused by a teacher. And had a good friend of mine came out and told me he was abused by a Boy Scout leader. And I even went to my doctor, and the nurse there told me that she was abused by a family member. But there's so many people that encouraged me and gave me strength, gave me the ability to fight this through. It's a feeling that you have within you. You have to feel good about yourself. And when you see there's other people that were abused and they're not giving up and they're fighting, and if we all fight together, these pedophiles, they would never go away, but there'll be less and less victims. And that's what we want, less and less victims.